A lot of you here know me, but a lot of you here don't. For those who don't, I'm going to briefly tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from a small town in Westchester, New York, called Purchase. I ended up going to Tulane University, majoring in business, and nearly 6 years ago moved to Delray Beach. I ended up buying a home, getting married, and settling down. My wife and I felt that this was going to be a great place to raise a family, and we love it here. And about a year and a half ago, I started my own small business as an environmental consulting firm, and we help other businesses and companies reduce their waste, water, and energy. We've grown now to about 10 people, and I feel like I'm living the American dream. But like a lot of you, I too am now feeling the pinch of the economy. A lot of us have friends and family members out there who have lost jobs. All of our investments today are in half. Our homes are worth less than what we paid for them. Some of us pay 3 to 4 times as much in taxes as our neighbors. We are all worried that another hurricane is going to hit us, devastate our community, and bankrupt our state. And worse, for those of you who still read the newspaper today, notice that almost every single week we've been having shootings in South Florida. The convenience store owner, whose family I have known for several years, was just shot in broad daylight, 3 blocks from my house, 10 minutes down the road. And now I'm seeing people leaving Florida and abandoning this beautiful place. But we love it here. And we're not one to turn and run. And we're not going to point fingers, and we're not going to blame. We are going to stay here, and we're going to fight for a community which we have grown to love so much. When I first moved to Delray Beach, I fell in love with this community so much that I jumped headfirst into this community, getting involved in organizations like the Delray Beach Rotary Club, which I go to every Tuesdays at Ellie's Diner down the street, the Broward County Crime Commission, which I got involved with because of my love of law enforcement. I used to be a reserve police officer in California. And Step Up for Students because of my love of education, and because I think that all students deserve the best education possible. It's how I got to meet Mr. DeVos, and why I'm here today. But, with the little that I've done, I feel right now that I can do more. And I know that if we all work together, we can do more. We can work harder to keep South Florida safe, and our community is a great place to live because we live in a land of opportunity, a place where many of us have come seeking better, fuller, richer, and happier lives. Building a life worth living and starting a family is hard work. But it's great work. And it depends on the men and women who play by the rules. Start families, build businesses, pay their taxes. But now our state and our country face serious problems. Not from the people here, we know how things work, but for the simple reason and principle. Because the government has lost its purpose. And let me tell you a little bit about what I believe that purpose to be. The government should be focused on protecting our liberties and our freedoms and letting us seek happiness in our own ways. I believe in free markets, in capitalism, and personal responsibility. Now I know that the government is not the enemy, and our Florida State Constitution says that well. Its preamble reads, "We, the people of the state of Florida, being grateful to Almighty God for our constitutional liberty, in order to perfect our government, maintain public order, ensure domestic security, and guarantee equal civil political rights to all." Now, aren't those words simple, direct, and true? These are fundamental truths that many in government today have forgotten, and that's what I believe in. That's common sense, and that's what I'm going to bring to Tallahassee. Do you think people today who have lost their jobs or lost their homes, do you think they care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent? I don't think so. More than ever have we come to a time where we need to get together. come up together with real solutions to real problems that are affecting everybody today. Because more than anything, we do need change. But this time, we need the right change. Not only are we Floridians, we are Americans. We are the most courageous and resilient people on this earth. And I don't doubt, with hard work and courage, that we won't get out of this. We're Americans. With hard work and courage, we can survive anything. As Winston Churchill used to say, courage was going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. The question we must all ask ourselves today is, what kind of state do we want to be when we do? Ladies and gentlemen, we face a stark choice. Do we want to be a state that starts to increase taxes and increase spending, or do we want to be a state that promotes freedom? Help the most vulnerable help themselves, and let free men and women chart their own course. We live in a country and in a state where we have the ability to pick and choose whatever state we want to live in. If we're not happy with the way one state is, we can go and pick another. But I believe in the state of Florida. But its freedom depends on the liberties that our government is supposed to protect. That's what I believe in. Our government needs to get back to its core principles and its core values. Teddy Roosevelt. If an American is to amount to anything, he must rely upon himself and not the state. He must take pride in his own work and not sit idle and envy the luck of others. He must face life with resolute courage, win victory if he can, and accept defeat if he must, and not place on his fellow man a responsibility which is not theirs. Fred, imagine if I cold called you one day and said, I would like $1,000 for my charity. And you said no. And I said, well, I didn't really like that answer. So I went to your bank, got access to your bank account, and took that money anyway. How would you feel?
That's where it went.
You wouldn't be very happy. If that's not okay for me to do, why is it okay for the government to do the exact same thing? The government has become a conduit to redistribute your hard-earned money, and this needs to stop. And this needs to stop now. Why, in a time of economic turmoil, when companies are letting people go, downsizing and reducing, is the government growing by leaps and bounds and expanding to growth we've never seen before? The government should be focused on incentivizing us, incentivizing businesses, and not incentivizing itself. Very few times in our life will we come to a crossroads where we have the ability to make magnificent changes, and I believe that this is one of these times. We cannot tax our way to prosperity, and we can definitely not spend our way to prosperity. We need to come up with big ideas and big changes. What do we got to lose? We can start here locally in Florida. First, by tackling property taxes. We need to change our property taxes to make sure it is fair and equitable, to get people to start investing in Florida and people to buy homes. We need to change our property insurance system to make sure that we're all protected and let free markets work for us. We need to change the way utilities operate. Folks, capitalism still works. It's not okay. We have a utility company that wants to continually increase our rates with no competition. But we won't be able to do anything if we don't feel secure. We need to properly fund our criminal justice system. We need to start going after criminals, repeat violent offenders, and put them away in jail for life. And take away the liberal attorneys and prosecutors' objective sentencing procedures. But more than anything, and last but not least, is education. We need to make sure that our children, and I mean all of our children and not just the privileged few, have access to the best education that is out there today, because the children of Florida are the future of America and the future of our state. We need to make sure that we're getting better teachers down here with better degrees. We got to compete with the best and the brightest Wall Street firms who are offering bonuses to kids coming out of college We got to be offering teachers who've got master's degrees and PhDs to be coming in here and teaching our kids. We need to make sure that our schools are competitive so our kids have the ability to pick and choose whatever school is best suited to their needs. Now I know we've got a long road to go, and it's going to be a tough road, but I have faith. I really do. I have faith in the people of Florida, and I know if we all come together, as my grandfather used to say, have a reputation for fair and honest dealing, we can get through these hard times. My name is Loeb, and I'm running for the Florida House of Representatives. Thank you very much.